Hello and what's up everyone? Hello beautiful soul. I'm so excited to welcome you to another episode of Built to Last, and today with one of the topics that I just personally am obsessed working with my clients and just doing myself every day business wise, which is messaging and the power of words. So I will be joined today by Lucy, my beautiful friend and absolute messaging and copywriting queen, also known as my right hand woman, which I love the handle. I'm so obsessed with this. So I had actually the pleasure to meet Lucy in person just a few weeks ago. And I'm so excited to dive in and to talk about, well, as you know, always the unfiltered truths and behind the scenes of what it takes to build a 6- and 7-figure coaching business and the really unhinged things that we're not always seeing online. And specifically because with the focus on messaging and the power of words. So let me just get her in and we can get the conversation started.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I love seeing your big and beautiful smile, and
Oh,
it's so
thank
good.
you.
And it's so good to have you in. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. It feels so good to be here. I'm excited. You said the magic word, the unhinged truths.
Yes. So I want to dive into all of this with you and just have so many juicy questions for you. And I think we're going to have such an amazing conversation as well. But the first thing I want to say, I just love kind of, what you stand for. And I will give you just in a second the opportunity also to introduce yourself. But you are basically saying, like in your bio, even like, let's make your non-ideal let's scare off your non-ideal clients. And I'm just so obsessed with this because it's basically what I'm talking to, like saying to my clients all the time. It's like we all want to be magnetic. Hi Courtney. Hi everyone. We all want to be magnetic, but we forget what it actually means to be a magnet, and that it has two sides to, a magnet, which is attracting what's like and repelling what's not. So I'm so excited to talk about all of the things. Hi, Christian. So before we dive in, would you like to just briefly introduce yourself, the amazing work that you do, and then we kick off?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Lucy. I am the woman behind My Right Hand Woman, and I am a messaging strategist and copywriter. So, what I do is I create the words that you need to really draw in those people that you want to work with and also scare the people that are not meant for you. And I do this through creating really creative angles in your messaging, focusing on your differentiation, and also just having fun with your brand voice so you don't have to sound stiff and weird. You can just show up, be you, but be you really intentionally so you can get those results that you want.
Oh, thank you for introducing your work. And I know that this is so important to so many people. Like, I mean, I'm working with new and rising coaches specifically all the time. And like one of the things that I just hear clients say all the time is, I want to step into visibility. I want to share my message. I want to make my offers wanted. Like we're all about wanted offers and kind of selling through connection, which words really and messaging has the power to do, and kind of connecting with the right people, making them see who it's for, what is it, and why is it the right thing. So I'm so curious how you got into that, and take us like kind of back, because this is like what it's all about the behind the scenes and how it went to grow your business. So where was the starting point for you, and when did you feel like, oh, this is something that I want to do? And maybe first, and then, oh, this is something that I'm actually really good at, so let me keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone, my business journey started off a little crazy. So I was fired from my first job. I was never meant to be working under someone. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. But after getting fired, I started my copywriting business literally on the afternoon that I got told to leave. And it's funny, like I had been playing around in the online space. I'm not going to pretend that that was like my first time ever learning what all this stuff was. But at first, I thought I was going to be like a social media manager. And because I was like, oh, I'm like young and I post on Instagram. And then I realized like I hated it. And I think not a lot of people talk about like the things they did before they got into their thing and the pivots that maybe happened like in the shadows. So I did a little bit of soul searching, and that's when I like really landed on the word like copywriter. And I like did a lot of research on like what that was. I had my degree in marketing, and I was just like, oh, like I could do that. And then I had been a writer my whole entire life. Like I had been a food writer in college for 5 years, and it felt like the right fit. So I like wrote for 5 people for free. I was like, just give me your story. I'll write your about page. Like it'll be good. Like I promise. And I got testimonials from them, and the testimonials I got were just like, you are meant for this. It wasn't like great job, and I was like, oh, okay, like I hit something here. And then obviously, I started charging much lower than I should have charged. And I started getting a few websites under my belt. I started getting more confidence. And then from there, I started to build like the My Right Hand Woman brand that people know me for today. Like that really irreverent, bold, bright strawberry lemonade brand that's just in your face on so many different platforms. And I really niche down into working with women who want to go bolder, whether they are starting a startup and they're like, this product doesn't exist and we don't know how to explain it, or they're a personal brand and they have a really beautiful, deep story that's multi-layered that they want to tell. I work with everyone. The main thing is just I work with people who want to go bigger and not play small and make it that their messaging is doing most of the selling for them.
I love what you just said, especially when you said, well, so often we kind of don't see the evolution of the work that
Yeah.
we do. Like, sometimes you just see the polished, really shiny what works. And then you assume like it's been kind of this gradual build up, but not that, oh, you started maybe with something that you actually weren't meant for, or that you found out
Yeah.
that you hated, or, whatever it is. And it resonates so much because it's also our journey kind of, I mean, when I say ours, I'm running this business with my husband and or now husband, back then boyfriend, and we just started out by exactly like you were saying, like kind of experimenting online and what is it that we really want to do. And we started with a blog. Like we were bloggers in the beginning, and we grew our blog to 200,000 like readers. But we realized it's like we don't want to be like specifically in the travel niche. So we're like, we don't want to write about the top 5 cafes in Colombia again, like create the 1,000th
Mhm.
article around those things. And it's but still you kind of have this skill set that you maybe develop, like in our specific case, like writing or whatever, that brings you to the next step. So I think it's so cool that you're sharing also this, because I know people are just sometimes overthinking in, is this the right thing for me? And should I now really do it? And then they stay stuck in overthinking mode without actually really taking action and moving and allowing themselves to figure out whether it is the right thing for them, just because they feel like they need to have the answers before.
Yeah.
I think that's so valuable.
Absolutely. And I think like I love failing. I feel like that's not talked about enough. Like I love jumping into something, being all in, realizing nope, and then just backing out
Mhm.
of it. I would way rather just fail. Like I don't even want to use the word fail. I'd way rather jump into something, realize like, oh, that's not the right step, and then immediately get out of it than like never try, be thinking
Mhm.
about it for a year, and then you just spent all that time when you could have figured out if it's for you or not for you a year ago.
Yeah, totally. And it actually makes me think of like my background from before doing Generation Nomads, before running our own business and like even experimenting anything online, is I was in the tech sector, like really, like coming in as the young, girl with a room full of, those tech bros and everybody. And I was working with startup accelerators and incubators and kind of helping them bring their ideas to market and having like those those startups pitch ideas to me and kind of evaluating the market potential and all of the things. And if there is one thing, like although, you know, I didn't like kind of the let's say environment I was in, I actually really adored the work that it was about, which is like creativity and bringing new ideas to market and really making them work on the market. So one thing that you just said was with I love failing, or I love kind of trying and jumping into things and experimenting and like going through the learning loops. Like that was, I think, one of the most valuable lessons that I brought with me from my background back then in the tech world, where it's so fast moving, that one of the concepts was really fail fast. Like do things, fail fast, improve, I like iterate, like pivot, all of those things. So I think that's so important. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because another, like I know you're doing something really exciting, which is going into like a whole new level of becoming a speaker.
I know it's been such a journey for the past like I'm on like month 3 of my 90-day challenge.
Yay! It's so exciting. I've been following this challenge of basically you setting the intention, I'm going to become an international speaker. And I really wanted to dive into that because kind of to show also to everyone watching that, you know, wherever you are in whatever level of your business, there is like the next stage or the next kind of thing that you want to go to. And you're always having a moment where you're doing things for the first time. And, you know, where you have to kind of position yourself in the field for the first time, where you have to pitch for the first time, where you maybe have those weird kind of, you know, feelings, but also this huge expansion and moments of growth. So I think like that's a really cool opportunity to dive into, because it's kind of combining this, you know, of how is it for somebody that is maybe just starting their journey, or maybe looking, you know, to people like you or me, or, you know, like anyone that they admire, and like thinking, how am I going to get there, to kind of take them with us on the journey as we're expanding to the next level. So I'm so curious, like, how has it been for you? Like, have you, as you know, being in this, in like, first of all, where was the idea born, and then how has it been to actually doing something new for the first time over the last 3 months?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to be a speaker the first time I set foot on stage. It was actually at Power Table Live last April, and I remember I got that speaking opportunity off of Threads. And I just remember going there, and I was on a panel and just like dropping messaging gems, but like in my kind of earthy, like irreverent way, and like hearing the audience like interact with me and laugh, and then like come up to me after and they're like, I'm going to take that home with me. That was so good. It made me realize, like, oh, I'm like really craving this
Mm,
part. And I had already had a podcast, and I feel so fortunate that I did not get that like natural fear people have of public speaking.
mhm,
I'm like, oh, you can put me on stage totally unprepared. I'll figure it out. So it felt really right. And then I was
mhm,
like, I want this as like a leg of my business. And I think so often we don't just like let ourselves have desires, and it was like a
mhm,
desire, and I was like, well, let me just try it. So I booked a bunch more stages actually for this fall, and I've been having so much fun like running around the country speaking, attending events. I think I go between like 2 and 4 events a month. I feel like I'm never home, and I love it. It just like really lights me up. And then I had this idea. I'm like, can I be a global speaker? Like, can I travel internationally and speak?
mhm,
I had been a digital nomad for, I mean, I don't even know if I use that word anymore, a remote worker. I'm still remote, but for 5 years, working from 55 different countries, 4 or 5 years, changing countries every 3 weeks. So I'm like, I would totally get on a flight for a 2-day
mhm,
event in South Africa. Like, that is very unbrand for me. So I decided like I could just pitch events like in my PJs and like not tell anyone about it, or I could just like put this out there publicly.
I
And it was really scary. I was like, well, what if the 90 days go by and like I don't book an international speaking gig, and then I'm
mhm,
gonna have to like tell people like, hey, I didn't do it. So I think it brings a new level of courage to fail when you're willing to
mhm,
fail publicly, or you're willing to say
mhm.
like, I had this desire, I had this goal, and I wasn't able to do it. And I tried my best and it didn't happen. And I think that's almost equal. And I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I have 4 weeks left. I'm gonna make it happen. But it's like I think like that that is the ultimate, like, do you have the courage to embody your goals so hard that you're willing to build it in front of people?
Oh, I love that. And just yes, it makes me think of something like a conversation that I just had yesterday with our clients in our group program. And it was all about, I think, coming really back to you just hit the nail on its head of, you know, like sometimes we know this is a desire that I have, this is a goal that I have, and I kind of want to go there and I want to commit to it, but then you're not allowing yourself to go fully in just because of those fears, right?
Mhm.
And kind of saying, you know what, like making it public, announcing it, announcing it to your audience, like to everybody, to the world, that this is the decision that you're gonna make. It's just creating such another level of commitment and like this all in energy. It's so cool because yesterday, like what we were talking about is we're actually reflecting with our clients what when I was looking like at what are the moments that we saw the biggest leaps in our business, or when did we feel like we were stagnating in our business and not going to the next thing we wanted to go to. It was all for the presence or the lack of clear decisions, like really committing and saying this is what I'm gonna do. And maybe even like as you were saying, maybe you run out of time and or you meet your deadline and then you didn't meet your goal exactly at this level, but at least you have gone there and got closer, rather than not fully committing to it, not actually deciding, like consciously deciding for it, and then allowing yourself kind of this back out door, like, oh, but I haven't made like the decision to go there. So I think it's actually something so bold and courageous to put this out publicly and kind of say,
I know,
it's
I'm
like a
feeling it.
bold,
Every
scary
week
goal.
that goes by, I'm like, I gotta start pitching. Like, I'm about to go to Namibia, like for fun. I'm like, I'm gonna start pitching some like co-works in Namibia. I'm having to get like scrappy and creative. And
Yeah,
I think I totally hear you. Like, you have this deadline, and I'm like, I want to give the people what they want.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it makes you get more creative. Whereas you can maybe sit on a dream or a desire for 5 years, 10 years. Some people
yeah.
never even do it. So it's like, yeah, give yourself 90 days to do the unrealistic.
Yeah. And also, I think calling in opportunities, like
Mhm.
the only thing to kind of make it, I mean, how do people cannot look inside your head, right? I mean, okay, there is Lucy and she wants to become an international speaker. And like people don't know, that you're actually sitting there and thinking about this big vision that you have for extending your business in this kind of capacity. But when you're putting it out and you're saying, I'm so ready and available for your event, and this is the what I've done before, and like I'm ready to kind of rock the stage at your event, then you're actually calling in the opportunity because people get the chance to see you and then really say, oh, maybe she would be amazing for this and that, and then you kind of call in proactively new ways and kind of paths that wouldn't have been there without you making the decision, first of all, like really committing to it and then putting it out there, even
Yeah.
though fear comes in. So I think that's so, so cool. I think it's really making you also like really relatable, I guess, to, people that are doing something. I don't know, for your clients, I'm curious, but I know like our clients or the people that we want to impact, I mean, they're all doing things for the first time and they're doing things that are scary, and then kind of actually having an embodied role model that is really like showing, like walking the talk. It's so cool.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I think I always like to embody. I mean, we all have boldness in our own flavors, and I have a lot of clients that are way more bold than me in like the traditional sense of the word. But I try and, push myself out of my box because I want to keep embodying this energy for my clients. Like, how can I tell you to say something that's absolutely terrifying if I'm not willing to say the thing? So I even with this challenge decided to collaborate with my personal account and my business account for the 90-day challenge, which anyone who's watching knows nothing's scarier than your family watching you try and hit
Mm.
your goals. I'm like, I can be crazy in front of my clients all day, but when I start putting things on my personal account and telling the people who love me, who've seen me since childhood, like, hey, this is what I'm going for, that is like a whole new level of vulnerability. So I just
Mm.
wanted to put that out there to say, like, yes, things are going to be scary, but if something's scary, it's probably because it's exactly what you're meant to do.
100%. So looking at kind of, your business journey over the last years, I'm so curious. And right now we were talking a lot about boldness and courage and kind of going all in and making scary decisions, putting yourself out there. If you had to reflect and kind of look at your moments of, oh, this is when I saw like big things happening in my business. This is when I saw quantum leaps. This is when I, like really up leveled. What would you say like would be, the things to pinpoint that growth on? And it can be maybe, different things at different times, but just whatever comes to mind, because just so curious, because we did that reflection just yesterday, and that's how we got into this whole decision and kind of, the energy behind going all in and like really committing to a clear goal that makes you really focused and have a clear target that was so big. So I'm just so curious to hear your reflections on what you think that was for you, so that if someone is listening and watching and they're feeling like, oh, maybe I should, really double down on that and really prioritize focusing on those things.
Yeah, actually, my big quantum leap came from a really rough period where I was thinking, oh, like, is this business even going to work? So the way my trajectory was, it was a bit weird. So I started my business in COVID, had my highest income year as my first year because everyone was going online and I was in the pandemic. So it's like all I was doing was working. Like there was nothing else to do. I was like in my room working. And that was amazing. It gave me like that really early success. It also gave me a little bit of an ego. I was like, oh, business is easy. And then I had a few really good years, like that 20 to 2022 period. And then my business tanked. And it's because I decided, like, I'm doing so well, I'm ready to scale, like, I'm ready to go bigger. So I actually, and this to this day, this is like one of the worst mistakes I think I've made is I rebranded. I wanted to become this like high-end studio. I wanted to position myself to like be attractive to like corporations and tech companies along with people in the online space. And like everything fell apart. Like I lost all my personality. I lost all of like the things that made me successful in my marketing just because I wanted to be like bigger. I wanted to like position myself as more high end, and that like I think the big takeaway I want people to hear from this is like, don't like if you want to pivot, that's fine, but like don't pivot everything all at once. Like pick one thing to like change, but like don't lose the things that are working. I definitely just was like, oh, I'm invincible. Like I'm just gonna go bigger and like change my positioning and stuff like that. Not a good idea. So, anyways, I had a giant dip. I had a really rough year. And then I just did a little bit of, for lack of a better word, like soul searching. And I was like, well, what changed? And I'm like, oh, what changed is like, I'm not in it. Like, I'm not in the business as much. And I'm like pulling my energy away. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to actually get smaller to get bigger. So I moved from this studio brand into my personal brand again. And I decided, like, I'm going to be the face of it. Like, that's what made me successful. That's what's going to stay. And then I rebranded again. Like, I mean, I know you're not supposed to rebrand every year, but I was like, I'm about to go down. So I really wrote like the most unserious, cheeky website and had my designer just like go back into this place of being like funny and creative and different and refreshing. And the irony of this whole thing is like when I started doing that, I actually started attracting like the tech companies and the corporations and the small businesses that I wanted to attract. So I ended up, building my business back up and then some, and then combining that with being in person this year has been insane. I think I've been growing my network by like truly 100, 150 people a month, which is just astronomical. And I think I could have only gotten that from actually getting my butt on plane in rooms. So I think that's like where I'd really credit like my quantum leap. It sounds so cheesy, but like the courage to go all in on like my energy, because that's what made me successful. And also just saying yes to the event that's going to be difficult to get to, just getting there.
Yes. Oh my God. I love this so much. And kind of I think, and it's so cool to see also the comments and like saying like, oh, it's so refreshing to see like really this genuine relatability and like behind the scenes. And that's exactly the conversations that I want to have here because like,
Yeah, you're so good at bringing it out.
yeah. Like so often these stories are just staying hidden. And then people think, oh, there is something wrong with me if I tried this or I tried that, or if I had like real success, and then things just start slowing down. And what I always like to say, it's like, it's so normal that even if you're hitting a certain, like you're breaking through to the next income level, for example, it's so, I think, often that we're then, bouncing back, and then you're bouncing forward, and you're like taking one step forward and two steps back, and then, two steps forward and three steps back, and like all of the things. And we're kind of expecting that growth is gradual, but actually it is like kind of, jumping back and forth so that you can figure out what are actually the things that are really working. And what I like to say is, like, so often is, you're building your business, but your business is building you as well. So it's kind of, we need those lessons and need to go through those moments of where we're like, hitting a bit of a brick wall and kind of feeling like, oh, but what was now the reason why it didn't work, so that you can move past it and figure out the things that do work. I think that's so cool. And it makes me think of a similar situation that we had when we actually pivoted away from the first, like when we stepped into coaching, we were doing financial coaching kind of stuff, because that was just the thing that we did. Like we went traveling, like, did a whole world trip, and we did it without touching our savings and in growing our net worth. And we did that through investing. So we're like, okay, let's teach people how to invest their money, because that's what people were asking us to do. Like, how did you do it? How did you travel? So we went into this, but it was purely motivated by, this is just something that people want, and it's like easy to make money there because people want that. Yeah. But it didn't feel truly right. And then we were like, okay, but we want to actually pivot out of this and do something that really feels like something that we really are in it with all of our heart. And we had like this event where we called it, like we had 300 people registered for a challenge, which was mind-blowing. Like it was at this point the biggest thing that we hosted, like an online event where 300 people signed, or almost 400 people signed up, and we had a Facebook group that was buzzing. And then we went there and we kind of came with that first offer, like, and nobody bought. And we're like, what's happening? Like what? Like we never got so many people in this one place. And we're pitching the offer. We're doing everything according to script, like to book, and then it doesn't work out. And then what is the reason? And then we had to go back, like similar to what you were doing, and kind of figuring out, well, we pivoted, but we didn't, like, we just thought that we can slap the same thing on something new.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. It's like you feel like you're like, I'm good at this whole business thing. Like I can just shake things up. I can make things better for me. I can optimize. And we just like, it's almost like we have blinders to the things that like got us there in the first place.
Right. And then kind of for us, that realization was, oh, like we changed our offer. But we didn't change our message, and we didn't change like kind of, how we were speaking to the people. So it all came down to aligning then the new offer with the new people and kind of changing the whole thing around, and kind of this reminder of that you're creating like for, like getting obsessed with the people that you're creating for. And that also brings in kind of who you want to create for and how you can align like your energy with their energy. So I think that's like so relatable what you were saying, and it brings up like that memory for me too, which is so cool. Wow. So I feel like we can go into like more and more and more things. I'm just like go from one topic to another. I think just to wrap up, I would love to know, and maybe that's like really the perfect transition to like everything that we just talked about, is if somebody is right now in the, let's say, the early stages of the journey, and maybe they're even listening and they're feeling like, oh, but I want to make sure that I'm doing the right things. I'm doing the thing that is really me and that will work out, that I'm like fully in it, that I can decide to go all in. So if you had to give advice to your past self in, that earlier stage of business, what would that be, to kind of really say, oh, I wish that I could just tell Lucy back then, like this and that would have made that whole journey even so much smoother or more enjoyable, or whatever it was?
Yeah, I think I would tell her that she has nothing to prove.
Hmm.
I think when we get into this space of, you see someone on Instagram doing something and you're like, I want to be at that level. Or, maybe you had like a horrible boss and you're like, I'm going to show them, I'm going to build this business. Or you had a lot of people doubting you, or maybe you've doubted yourself. And like for a long time, you've had these like limiting beliefs and you feel like I have to achieve to be worthy, or I have to do X to be seen as a successful business owner. I
Hmm.
hit 6 figures. Like, we see all this messaging all the time, but it's like almost choosing that it's like, no, you have like nothing to prove and like so many people to impact. So like it sounds harsh, but it's like you're gonna need to like kill your ego a little bit and go serve the people who will literally have their life changed if they meet you.
Mm. I love that so much because what it makes me think of is it also is a bit of a permission. I feel like shifting away from your own insecurities or your own kind of limitations that we so often see, right? Whenever we want to do something new, whenever we want to do something that seems big to us, it's natural and it's only human that those fears kick in, like, oh, but am I good enough? Can I really do this? Like, how can I do this? Like all of the what ifs and questions, can I? And I feel like what makes it, and that was for me in my personal journey, I remember the first time starting to sell, for example, on Instagram stories, and I had to record myself. And I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing of my life. It was like taking me 45 minutes to record like this one story sequence, and I had to do it again. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel good. And then I was really sitting with myself and asking myself, like, why do I feel this way? And it was exactly coming from this point of what you just said of feeling like I just need to prove my worth. I need to
Mhm.
prove my value. I need to prove that this is something that I can do, and I need people to see how I am the expert or I am the person that I'm, just saying that I am. And while it would come from real integrity and kind of wanting to really do well for the people that I'm serving, I was just completely focusing on myself and on my own insecurities. And the
Yeah.
moment when I actually shifted that around and stopped obsessing with myself and stopped obsessing with kind of all the things that may be still, not perfect or whatever, I thought is not perfect, and actually direct that obsession towards the people that I have the message for and the people that I want to reach and the people that I want to make feel a certain way or that I want to help and serve. I think that switched everything around because the focus shifted from insecurities to actually the real value and excitement. And it no longer became like selling, for example, was no longer anymore like this thing, oh, I have to prove this, or I
Yeah.
need this, I need the sale, but actually, I would be so excited for this person if they actually started working with me
Yeah.
because because they could like their life could change. So genuinely focusing on that, so cool. So thank you so much for sharing that. So let us know what is going on right now in your world. Any exciting, well, we talked about a lot of exciting things. You're becoming an international speaker in the next 3 weeks, in the next 4 weeks, but what else? Like, how can people join your world? How can they stay in touch so that everyone can just connect with you?
Yeah, no. So if you enjoyed this conversation, I'm just like this on my own stories. So come over to my side of Instagram, give me a follow, and we can hang out there. I also have a membership that I've been growing towards the end of this year. I actually think someone may have grabbed it in this live. So we've hit our first 10 founding members.
Woo!
It's something that I am also looking to grow. It's called Unicorn Messaging, and it is really that space for women who want to really own their category and make it that they don't have competitors, because we utilize your messaging to create an angle that no one's ever heard before, allowing you to really soar to those heights. So it's not for the newer entrepreneur, actually. It's for that person who's at a 5 or a 6. They're like, I know what I do. Like, I feel clear. I've made some sales, but I'm ready to truly be that household name. And I'm ready to have that sentence, that thing that people know me for. So that's been really exciting. It's exciting looking at all the women in that membership because I'm like, oh, I did something right with the coffee because like I would get a cocktail with literally every single one of those women. So that's probably the biggest thing. I have something fun coming out for Black Friday, which I'm not going to announce quite yet, but if you're following me, you'll learn about it in the next week. And I'm just excited to have like a really expansive close to the year. And then hopefully like really log off of business around like December 15th. I love like a long holiday.
Ooh, I love that for you. And we're going to be doing something similar in December, but also throughout January because, well, baby's coming. So it's going to be a very non-businessy, like very
Yeah.
life-focused season for us later this year. I love that somebody jumped into your membership while we were on this
I
live.
know.
So
Yeah. I just like
kudos.
saw a text come through. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So I think we did a good job, girl. Like people are joining your membership as you're speaking, so you're calling in people, becoming that magnet, and I'm just so excited for you and all of the things that are coming up. So I cannot wait to see the opportunity of, like the speaking engagements coming your way, and just wishing you that the rest of the year becomes the most expensive it can be, and also the 2026. Like, let's make that start with a big bang for us. So I would love
Yes.
this for us. How cool.
I
So
love.
thank you so much for joining me on this series. I loved having you on, and just really appreciate also your kind of openness and honesty in taking us behind the scenes. I think this is so valuable, and I'm just so excited to have those conversations. So thank you so much for opening up and for doing this. It's been just so cool hanging out with you here on the Instagram Live, and let's do this again and talk soon. So thank you so much for joining.
Amazing. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.